Hi friends, it's Mari from Mari Harai Archives, and today we're going to talk a little bit about journaling. More specifically, journaling for someone who is a homebody, who stays home, who doesn't really do much. And so I thought I'd talk about my story and how my style of journaling came to be. Now, like most people, I'm not sure if it's most people, but as for me, I struggled when it came to journaling. It's something that I do enjoy, and I've tried so many different types of journaling. But the thing is that I always felt like my life or what I did wasn't exciting enough, or I didn't do as many things that would warrant, or something special that would warrant like a journal entry. And I think I struggled with that because I just felt like I didn't have anything to write about. And so journaling for me was kind of an on and off thing, and I could never make it stick for some reason. And so today I want to show you how I, as a homebody, document my day and how I do it. And I just want to show that even if you're not doing things and you do repetitive things over and over again, you still can journal in a way that you can show your creativity and I don't just document what you've done. It doesn't have to necessarily be something spectacular. And I think this is the reason why I love journaling this way. I love sticker journaling. It allows me to express my creativity, but at the same time document the ordinary. And I think it's very, very important that we do that, because just because you don't do things or you don't go out and do things, that you shouldn't journal. That shouldn't be that way, or you shouldn't feel that way. And so here I am, just kind of journaling. This is late in the evening, and I am just kind of going over the things I did that day. Now, luckily, it's a Saturday that I am documenting my day. So I'm doing a little bit more than my ordinary. Well, actually, no, I feel like it's less. I feel like during the weekday, I'll do a little bit more, just because I tend to, I don't know, be more motivated. I feel like the weekends for me is like, okay, I don't really have to do anything. And so I feel like when it comes to journaling, like I had mentioned earlier, that we always, well, at least for me, as far as like the earlier days of me journaling, I always felt like I had to do it a certain way, or there's a lot of people who would journal and they would, have all these events that they go to, or they have like meetups, or, they have all these things that are happening. And I would look at that, right, and think like, I don't do any of that stuff. And so it kind of discouraged me to journal, because, and the fact that, I am not working, I'm retired, and my kids are a little bit older, so I'm at a slower stage in life than I was prior, when I was younger, obviously, and when our kids were younger. And so, but honestly, when I think about it, the days that I was busy, I don't think I would have been able to handle journaling anyways, because I was so busy and I just was tired all the time. So now that I've come into this slower pace of life, it's one of those things where I came back into journaling, and it's something that I've been wanting to do and just kind of incorporate as a hobby, something for me to express my creativity, something for me to do. And so 2018 is probably as far back as I can remember when I actually had made an effort to journal. But I feel like during that time, like the earlier stages, I was more so collecting stationery. If I don't know if you guys can relate, but I was more so just collecting the notebooks, collecting the covers, collecting the washi tape, the stickers, building my collection. And so, and of course, I really wasn't understanding my style and how I wanted or what I wanted out of journaling. And it's not until recently that I figured it out. But I'm pretty sure some of you guys can relate that in the earlier stages, you're kind of more focused, at least for me, I was more focused on the material things and not so much what journaling can do for me, but more so what I can buy and what collections I can have and what washi and sticker tapes that stickers and washi tapes that I can accumulate. And so, and my space, my desk, the storage for my stationery. And so I think at the same time I was trying to figure out, okay, how am I going to journal? And I've tried so many different ways. I even tried copying other people's way of journaling, and it just never stuck because obviously it just wasn't, I guess, fulfilling for me. And another reason, I'm just not a writer. I'm just not someone who can just write down my feelings. Even if I'm writing my feelings, it's more so I don't know, I don't feel, I guess, genuine when I force myself to journal in a way where I'm just writing and writing. I just feel like I'm always repeating myself. And so when, I guess, after the collecting and after accumulating so much, and I got super overwhelmed, and I really wanted to try to make journaling work for me. And I guess that's when I stopped comparing myself to other people and, their lives and how they journaled, because journaling obviously is such a personal thing. We are all different. We're all different stages of our lives. We all have different preferences. Like, people love to write and there's people who don't love to write. And so I think once I got so overwhelmed with everything, I think that's when I decided to declutter, get rid of a bunch of stuff, and work on curating my stationery. And so that kind of led me to a bunch of my stickers. Now, I was hoarding so much, but not using it because I wasn't journaling. It was on and off for me. And I think that desire, when I saw the amount of stickers I had in washi tape, I purged a lot. I sold a lot, but I still had a lot. And so I kind of had to take matters in my own hands and really buckle down and say, look, we need to figure this out. Like, how can I do this hobby where I'm accumulating and buying all the stationery, but I need to put it to where I'm consuming it as well. There was lots of things coming in, nothing going out. And so I think that's where I started to figure out, okay, how am I going to journal to where I can use up my stickers? And I think this is where my perspective changed when I started thinking about stickers, because I love stickers ever since I was younger. And so it's definitely something that I wanted to keep or do or to incorporate. And I'm not saying I'll stop buying stickers, because that's impossible. I love stickers too much. And so that's when I decided, that's when my perspective changed. I said, you know what? Maybe I don't need to focus on the big things. Maybe I don't need to focus on the events, because obviously those things don't happen so often. And so that's the reason why I wasn't journaling very often. But I said, what about my everyday? How can I document my everyday? And then that's when my mindset shifted. And I said, I can document everything that I'm doing every single day, even if it's the same thing over and over again. But I can use my stickers to represent those events to make it different. And I think that's where kind of a light bulb came or a light bulb just clicked, and I was like, okay, this is how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use my stickers. I'm going to document my day, and every day is probably the same, but the stickers won't be the same, or the colors that I use for my pens and markers are not going to be the same. And I think that's what started it all. And my perspective totally changed. And I was like, I can do this. I can upkeep this. And that's when I took a look at my Hobonichi weeks, because that's what I use to journal in. And I just kind of sectioned everything off. And I just kind of looked at what I like to track. And I think a lot of people, for me, I look at other people's journals, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to do that because I feel like I can track that. And then I try it, but then it's not for me. And I think the only way you can learn about yourself is if you try different things until you find something that clicks, right? And that's the only way. It's trial and error until you find that one thing that works for you. And so with me, I've stopped looking at tracking and just kind of started writing down the things that I want to keep track of. Like for us, we like watching TV shows and movies. And so that's something that I wanted to keep track in my notebook or in my journal. Dinners that we eat. That's something I wanted to keep track because that's something I'm trying to put effort in as well. Learning how to cook, trying different recipes, and just having that kind of, record of things that were important to me. And so I think, as you approach your journaling, that's something to look into. You want to do things that is catered to you and your likes and your interests. And like I said, it's trial and error, right? You won't know until you try things out and see what you want to track, what you don't want to track. And you're not going to get it the first time around. It can take multiple times and tries. And so I think this year, now that I figured out the style that I want to do, it has really helped me stay on track, and it has helped me focus on the things that are important to me that I want to document. And at the same time, I'm able to express that creativity with the stickers and the markers and lettering, and also helps me practice, my writing. Helps me kind of, just look at the stickers and enjoy it. And so I'm happy that I finally am able to have journaling serve a purpose in my life. I think in the beginning I was looking at it a little bit differently. It was more materialistic. But now I'm looking at journaling as something that I can record my life in a year, each and every year, in a way that resonates with me. and something that I can upkeep. And I don't know, it's just one of those things that I'm just happy that I was able to find a style that allows me to document my everyday. And like I said, you don't have to, as someone who stays home and does everything over and over again, it's important to, I guess, document those things, because I feel like we don't give that part of our daily lives enough attention, and we forget it. And so me being able to document this way, and to document just the boring, ordinary things, it allows me to see a huge picture in my notebook that, yeah, I might be doing the same thing over and over again, but it gives it substance. Like, it's not forgotten. And I always say this, I probably mentioned this before in some of my videos, where we only tend to remember like the big things, the events that are different, not like the everyday things, like the cooking that we do, the dinners that we eat, the teas that we drink, the movies that we watch, because we do it over and over again and it gets lost. You tend to forget about it. Being able to document the way I document with the stickers and journaling the way I'm doing it gives it its place in time in my life, where I can see it and it's not forgotten. And so it's very important that we give those little details and those repetitive, mundane things, I don't want to say like a voice, but like, a place in your journal. It's not just other things. And so, yeah. And as you saw in the video, I showed you what I did that day and how I journaled it, and that's how it looks. And honestly, if you look at my page, there are a lot of repeat things that I'm doing. And like, the bike riding, I do that every single day, but I still am able to document it and use different stickers to, show that. And and bonus, I'm using my stickers, and I'm actually consuming more than buying. So that's a great thing. But see, as you can see, I have a lot of repetitive things that are happening in my day-to-day life. And there are, onesies, twosies, threesies, that I'm doing something different, whether it's going to the lake or doing a bonfire with outside, like it's, that shows in my journal, but the everyday, the repetitive, repeating things is also in there. And I like how that all the repeated stuff is in there. Like here, I have like tea and like the lemon water that I drink every single day. It's all in there. And, working out, gardening, like those are things I do every single day, and every page is different. And it's just, it really has served a purpose in my life as far as this way of documenting, and it makes me really, really happy, because I changed my perspective on what I should write about. Now I'm able to actually write and journal and document in a way that makes me happy. And for the times that I want to say a little bit more, I can do that in my back pages and write whatever I want to write about, or what I want to expand on. And it's not so much pressure for me to write about things or to write every single day. And for example, there's a day where I had made it's this Filipino dessert called turon. It's like this banana wrapped in egg roll wrappers, and it has brown sugar in it. And I ate a little bit more than I should, and I crashed. I went and took a nap. Now, the last time I had to take a nap was like in June, was it the 16th? And sugar just does that to me. I crash. I don't feel good. And so on that day, I was like, you know what? I want to write about this so I don't forget about it this time. And so that's what I did in the back pages. I went ahead, and I know I spelled sugar wrong. I was looking, I was like, hold on, that's not how you spell sugar. But anyways, I decided to write about it. And so this is the reason why I love the way I journal, because it's not so much pressure on myself to write, but at the same time I can document my day that's happening every single day and not feel bad about, only writing when something big happens. And as you can see, there's different things that you can do. And like I said, it is still a work in progress. I'm not saying like I figured it all out. There are times where I want to try different things, and there are times where I have to back journal because I didn't journal, and that's okay. Sometimes I'm able to back journal, and that's what you see here. And then there are some days where I can't back journal because I have not journaled in so long that it was just impossible for my brain to rethink what was happening every single day, and I would only do the highlights. So, journaling is a learning process, and I just wanted to show you how, even though that you are staying at home, or even though you don't have a lot of things happening, events or parties or weddings or, meetups, that you still can journal and write about things in a way that I guess resonates with you. And in my case, because in the past I was focused more on the fact that I wasn't doing a lot of stuff, it showed because I wasn't journaling, because I felt like that was the only thing that was worth putting into a notebook. And so changing my perspective and just realizing like, yeah, the little things, the boring things, that we can write about that. And then to be able to do that in a way where I can use up my stickers, use up my stationery, it's win-win for me. And so, I say your life isn't boring. You just need to focus on the things that are important to you and what you want to record in your notebook in a way that resonates with you, whether it's writing, drawing, sticker journaling, which is what I do, sticker journaling, junk journaling. There's so many different things, I think, but what's most important is that it's something that resonates with you, something that you feel like you can do every single day, something that brings you joy, something that makes you happy when you look at it, because I know when I'm looking at my journal, it makes me happy. So I hope you enjoyed this video showing you what I actually do in a day and how I actually input it into my journal and how it looks like. It was fun to do. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.